It's showtime.
Hello, and welcome to REELdemption. I'm your host, Zack. This is the show where I take a look back at films I used to hate, giving them a second chance at redemption. Or in this case, REELdemption. But I'm not doing it alone. Today on the show, I'm joined by a very special guest, Becca, aka RoseyGCosplays. Becca, welcome to the show!
Hello, it's me, Becca!
Yes, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, no problem. I am very excited to be here.
Awesome. Just to get us started here, would you mind introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I am Becca. I am 21 years of age. I go by RoseyGCosplay on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, but I don't really use YouTube. And I have been cosplaying since 2013, and I mostly do like spooky cosplays, anime, and very niche things, like very niche. But that's okay because there's a small demographic and I'm that small demographic.
Awesome. That's fantastic. What was it that got you into cosplay to begin with? Was it a specific character or a property, or what made you realize, like, hey, this is a thing I want to try?
It's a really funny story, actually. So I went to a performing arts high school in Orange County, California called OSHA, and we did like a huge Halloween bash. And so my first cosplay ever was, I didn't know what cosplay was at this point, by the way. It was the 11th Doctor from Doctor Who, but if he had regenerated into a woman. So I had like all this baggy clothes that the old Doctor would have worn. It was very cute, very fun. And then my friend took me to my first convention and I met, do you know the Hillywood show? They were like,
yes.
Yes. Yep. I met them and I was like, how do you guys get those like custom outfits and all that? And they were like, it's cosplay. Like you can get that custom made. And I was like, no way. Really? So basically the Hillywood show is the cause of me getting into cosplay.
Wow. That's awesome. So you were like, wait, this is a thing?
Yes, exactly. I went to Long Beach Comic-Con. That was my first con ever back in 2014. Long time ago. But you know,
that's fantastic.
Great time. It was great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks, Hillywood.
Yeah, thanks, Hillywood. Shout out.
Shout out. We appreciate it. What has been your most challenging cosplay to date?
Probably Sarah from Labyrinth. If you've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
If that's one of your movies on your roster, highly recommend because it is my favorite movie of all time besides Beetlejuice. So. It took me 18 months to create, and it won second place at the Cosplay Nationals in LA Comic-Con. So
that's awesome.
It was a lot.
Yeah, but worth it, right?
It was so worth it. I have a labyrinth tattoo. Like it was worth every single penny that I spent on it, every single hour.
Yeah.
It was just a lot mentally.
I bet. So speaking of Beetlejuice, how many Beetlejuice cosplays do you think you've made so far, for you or for someone else?
Okay, so I made cartoon, I've made musical twice, wedding dress Lydia. No, I've done also basic Lydia, but I would like to do more. I'm actually planning. Do you know what Kotobukiya is? They're type of figures that you can buy.
I don't think so.
Well, they're really cool, but they did a horror line. So they're like sexy horror characters. And there's one of Beetlejuice of her like sitting on a gravestone like this. So I'm doing that for a con in January.
Speaking of Beetlejuice, that is our topic for today. We are talking about Beetlejuice.
Yay!
Came out in 1988, directed by Tim Burton. Do you remember the first time you watched Beetlejuice? What was that experience like?
Oh my God. That was so long ago. My Beetlejuice like era started in about circa 2016. So I first watched the movie back then. I'm a huge Rocky Horror Picture Show fan as well. So they kind of went hand in hand when I watched them together during Halloween, but they were kind of like on and off. But then when the musical came out, the fandom resurged like just astronomically. So I was like, you know what? Let me go full force into this fandom. And it's been my one personality trait for years.
Yeah. So were you immediately just on board? Like, I love this. This is my jam. Yeah.
I love Beetlejuice. I know he's stinky and he's old and he's gross, but there's just such like a charm about him.
What do you think of this? You like it?
That is just so lovely. And I work at Universal Studios Hollywood. and we have Beetlejuice roam around, and the
Yeah,
interactions that I have with this character are absolutely fantastic.
I bet. So you're tight with Beetlejuice.
I am. I'm tight. I'm like this. With
Humble
Beetlejuice.
brag. Just,
Yeah, he knows my name.
yeah. What is it about Beetlejuice that you love so much? Is it just the aesthetic? Is it just the character? What is it about the movie that grabs you?
I am a huge fan of Winona Ryder, and I'm also a goth person. So I dress up goth. I listen to goth music. I like goth things in general. So probably my favorite part is the storyline, the art direction, and the costume design, because it's just so iconic and it grabs your attention completely. Like, I'm gonna source a scene where it's at the end where Beetlejuice is with the giant like carnival thing. Who would have thought of that? That's insane.
Yeah,
And it's just like the characters each are so iconic, and they just I gravitate towards them. And like I see
yeah.
myself a lot as Lydia, especially like when I was going through like a transition phase in my life. I was like, wow,
Hmm.
this character really speaks to me.
Live people ignore the strange and unusual. I myself am strange and unusual.
And how does it compare with the musical?
Okay, so the storyline in the musical is a lot different.
Okay.
So basically, like Beetlejuice wants to come back to the living world, blah, blah, blah. He kills Adam and Barbara by creaking on some floorboards, and they drop down and they die. So there's no car scene, sadly. And then he teaches them how to scare these people out of his house, like in the whatever, the movie. But then at the end, like it's just there's small plot points that are different, and the songs are great, but I like the movie better because I feel like it has more of that scary charm, while the musical is more of comedic charm.
Okay. That's interesting.
They're different. I like the movie because it's just so aesthetically pleasing, and it's the original. Like, I know movie remakes, musical remakes, they're different, they're awesome, you should separate them, but the movie is just so many memories for me.
Yeah, it's hard to beat the original.
Yeah, and
I
like,
mean, let's be honest.
yeah, so my first partner ever was really into Beetlejuice too. So it was something that connected both of us, which was I still cherish those memories.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me break your heart then and tell you why past Zack did not like Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the movie when I tell people I don't like it, this is the reaction I get. I get the biggest like, "What are you talking about? What's wrong with you? Everyone loves Beetlejuice." Like, this is the movie that gets me the most. So this is past Zack, why past Zack didn't like it.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. I watched Beetlejuice for the first time when I was 16, which has been 15 years ago.
Okay.
I heard nothing but good things about it. I was excited to finally watch it. It's a classic. Everyone loves Beetlejuice. I was expecting to love it as well. My expectations were high, and I was so disappointed. By the way, I watched it one time when I was 16, haven't watched it since. On purpose, I wanted to revisit it later in life and do a show kind of like this, so I haven't watched it for 15 years.
Wow.
Put it off, saving it for this day.
Wow, I'm so
Yeah.
special.
Yes. In fact, this whole show came about because I wanted to talk about Beetlejuice and revisit Beetlejuice.
Oh, that's so nice.
Speaking of Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton was amazing. He's the best part of the movie. When he's on screen, I'm loving it. I'm having a good time. Too bad he's barely in the movie. I was expecting a movie called Beetlejuice to be about Beetlejuice. He gets so little screen time, I felt like I was stuck following Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis around the whole time, and I just didn't care about what their plot was. I just wanted Beetlejuice to come back.
Yeah, that's I agree to that. I do.
Like, every time he left, I was like, no,
No,
come
come back.
back. No, I
Yeah,
don't want to follow the humans around.
like I like Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, but Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton, come
Yeah.
back.
I mean, like, Winona Ryder, I was on board with, from day one. Loved her, but I was like, but Beetlejuice, come back. It's your movie, right?
Yeah. Literally
Yeah.
15 minutes. That's all he's in.
Yeah, I was looking up some trivia and it said only about 15 minutes of his was screen time.
He filmed all his scenes in like one day.
That's crazy.
I was like, what? Dude, crazy.
Also, the movie was too weird for me. I like weird films. I like classic Burton films. I was a big fan of like Edward Scissorhands and Big Fish, Ed Wood. I mean, all those good things. His Batman films.
Oh, yes.
This should have been a no-brainer for me, but for whatever reason, I just couldn't get into it. I had a hard time following the plot. What do you think about Past Zack?
Too judgmental. And not weird enough. You gotta be
Right?
weird to like these kind of films because it's a cult film.
Yeah.
Like, it's a cult film. Most of my favorite films are cult films. They're very niche people.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not surprised, but I'm disappointed.
You're not mad, just disappointed?
Just disappointed.
Oh, no. The D word.
The disappointment.
The disappointment.
Shame.
No.
Shame.
Shame. I feel like now, especially people our age, like there's been a big resurgence for Beetlejuice.
Yes. And like goth culture in general.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely more accepted
Yes.
and more like embraced, I would say.
Just like watching anime. Like it's they go hand in hand. Like just
Yeah.
the niche and the alternative cultures and like ways of life coming into light, especially with TikTok. That's been huge. Like
Yeah.
Beetlejuice sounds were trending for a while back in like 2019. So that like helped it research. Like an example is Ghost, the band, my favorite band, came like researched because Mariana Cross, one of their songs, has gone viral on TikTok. So now all these people are discovering this band. So it's just like what happened to Beetlejuice a couple of years ago.
Yeah. And that's really awesome that can happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, TikTok, crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works.
I rewatched Beetlejuice.
Okay.
Let me give you present day Zach's opinion on the film.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I'm so
It's okay.
worried.
Deep breath. Deep breath. Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
Cheers. Okay. It definitely helped going in knowing that Michael Keaton had a smaller role in the film.
Okay.
Just off the bat, that helped going into it. And because of that, I actually liked Adam and Barbara much more this time around, and actually cared about them and their story a lot more.
Yay.
I really connected with them a lot more. The visuals were amazing. The use of color, the lighting, the way that humans interacted with the afterlife world and all those creatures. I mean, I really dug the aesthetic of the film this time around. I was like, I love this afterlife world and I want to know more about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any, there should be like some comics or novels or something about this world.
Does expand it a bit more.
The musical does?
Yeah, the musical does.
Okay. Because I really want to learn more about that world.
Oh, and also check out the Beetlejuice cartoon from the 80s.
Yes.
All like the Netherworld is huge in that show.
Okay.
Highly recommend that.
I actually saw a little bit of the cartoon when I was a kid back in the day. I don't remember much about it, but I do remember liking the cartoon.
It's really good. Like Danny Elfman does the music for it, I believe, like still. So it's really good. I like it. I think that's my favorite version of Beetlejuice and Lydia. Because just their dynamic is so adorable.
I remember.
Friendly.
Yeah, weren't they like friends going on adventures
like
together?
Best friends.
Yeah.
Besties.
Yeah. And that's another reason why when I watched it the first time, I was expecting them to be friends.
Yeah. And then he tries to marry her.
Yeah. And Beetlejuice is the bad guy and everyone hates Beetlejuice. And I was like, I thought they were cool. But
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen the cartoon since I was a kid, but I need to go back and watch it because I remember really liking it.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. But another reason why I was kind of thrown off going into the film, but knowing all this going into it a second time, it was more easy to digest, I would say.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, I really dug the visuals, and I loved everything about it. In fact, one of my favorite scenes might be when Adam and Barbara go to the waiting room for the first time.
Oh, yes, with the Miss Argentina.
Yes.
So good.
And they're going through all these rooms, seeing all these different characters. I was like, I want to know more about all of these things.
And Juno with like the smoke coming out of her.
Yeah, I forgot about her. That was an awesome detail.
I was like, wow. They do that in the musical too. Like it comes out of her throat. It's
Oh,
so
really?
yeah, and it's like a giant puff of smoke. I'm like, wow, they thought of everything.
That's awesome. I love the small details like that. And the like the magician's assistant on the couch, sawed in half.
Yes.
I didn't realize she was a magician's assistant until I watched it this time, and I was like, "Oh, that makes sense why she's in half."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So cute. It's so cute.
yeah, really good details, really good like blink and you'll miss it kind of things in the background, which I like.
For sure.
And I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, "Why is there a sandworm?" But this time I was like, "Sandworm, that's cool."
Cool.
Yeah, I'm cool with sandworm. I do still find it odd that a film called Beetlejuice isn't about Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
But it does make it easier to market the film if you call it Beetlejuice. You put Michael Keaton front and center on the poster. I mean, like, this is an iconic cover.
Yeah, it is.
Like, you put Michael Keaton right dead center. You call it Beetlejuice.
There's the other cover with him on the gravestone, like leaning. I don't know what cover that was for, but I have that tattooed on me.
Really?
Yes, I have a sandworm, and then I have the gravestone with the sign, and then Beetlejuice.
So you're a pretty big fan of Beetlejuice.
Yes, it was
From what I'm
my
gathering.
first tattoos. Like it was like it. I was like, this was my second tattoo. Actually, I was like, this is the tattoo that I wanted, and
Yeah.
now I have this giant Beetlejuice tattoo. It's very
Well,
cool.
see, that's why I wanted you on the show today. I was
Hey, you're like, ooh,
there's one person I want on the show, and it's Becca.
yay!
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love hearing your perspective on it.
Thank you. It's just so charming. And
Yeah.
this is just so stinky. Like I have a thing for stinky men, I guess. Like him and the penguin from freaking Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Danny DeVito.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Don't say it 3 times. Don't say it another time.
How many times we said it so far?
Twice. Well,
Twice.
in this sentence twice, but you have to say it in like a repeated pattern. You can't just say Beetlejuice there, Beetlejuice there.
Ah, you said it twice. Just say it once more. Come on.
I'm not going to say it a third time.
Just say it.
You
bunch of losers!
With that being said, in my eyes, has this film been REELdeemed? And yes, it has.
Yeah.
Applause. Applause.
Applause.
Yes.
Applause. Yes.
Yes.
No
Is
shame.
I'm a fan now. I do love Beetlejuice now.
You can become one of the weirdos.
I hope so. I was on board.
Great.
Everything about it. The aesthetic, the characters, the weirdness, the look of it. Yeah, I loved it.
My favorite scene is probably where like the Dante's Inferno lounge and he's like bed ski. And Lydia's like, who are you? And he's like, this. And he's like, juice, apple juice. No, it's orange juice. So that's always my favorite.
Yeah, I love when the Beetle shows up and he's like, how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
How's it going?
That killed me.
Oh yeah. Or the section where he's like, he's like dressed up as Adam and he's like, oh, we shop at the same store.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, that's so good. We can't forget the Deo scene.
Yep.
We cannot forget it. It is the best. Just like Otho with his little drum.
Yep.
So good. And he's like on it. And like Delia's glove hat. I'm a sucker for like weird clothing. So her little glove beret or whatever. So
yeah. Some odd high fashion things going on.
Odd high fashion. And she's the mom in Home Alone, I think. So yeah. So she's just iconic in general.
Yeah. Honestly, I forgot she was in Beetlejuice.
Yeah, she's there.
Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I know her. I love her.
Cool.
Catherine O'Hara. Yeah, she's great.
Oh, yes. Great. Well, I'm so happy it's redeemed.
It is.
My day.
It would be really awkward if it wasn't. When I was talking about the show with some other people, they were like, what if you have someone on and you don't like the movie? And you have to tell them to their face you don't like it. Like, what's that going to be like? And I was like, I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's future Zach's problem. But
Yes.
well, Becca, thank you once again for being on the show. It was awesome having you here.
Yeah, no problem. Here I am. I came to talk about my hyperfixation, so I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome. I'm happy to have you. Like I said, you were the guest I had to get, so.
Yeah, well, you got me. And if you need me for any other movies, let me know.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So tell everyone watching where they can find you. Where can they find your work and keep up with your projects?
Well, I have an Instagram at Rosey, ROSEYG cosplay, and I'm working on some Dark Crystal stuff. If you haven't seen that movie, highly recommend watching it. It's a trip. So I'm doing a Dark Crystal project. I used to work at the Jim Henson Company, so I post a lot about that. And then I work at Universal now. So it's all about the costuming where on Instagram and TikTok and all that fun stuff. But you can find me anywhere, even Twitter under that. Most of my Twitters are just retweets. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Just RoseyGCosplay across the board?
Across the board. Awesome.
And make sure to check out Becca's content. They make amazing stuff.
Thank
I mean, seriously, your cosplay, your projects are amazing.
you. I try. It's a combination between I'm lazy and I'm going to make something insane. There is no in between.
There is no in between?
No.
Excellent. I love it. But yes. And I want to thank you for watching this video. Thank you so much. Hello, Editor Zack here. This episode got delayed, so I wanted to record a new outro to fill you in on the REELdemption schedule going forward. Also, if you would, please like and subscribe. I would certainly appreciate it. Next Friday, September 30th, episode 2 will be posted. I'll be talking Atlantis, the Lost Empire with my buddy Trask. Going forward, new episodes of REELdemption will be posted here every other Friday. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. One more thing before I let you go, I want to introduce you to the REELdemption Hall of Fame. Every film that gets REELdeemed on the show will be added to this place of honor, and since Beetlejuice was REELdeemed, he's the first to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time at the movies. Take care.